Hi, all. Sorry about that. Okay, we are here for three bills today. Um, we're gonna start with the two bills that don't have amendments, just so we can get that out of the way. We've got Bill 20-0528, annual property tax fiscal year. Oh yeah, I forgot to do introductions. My apologies. That type of morning. I'm Councilman Eric Costello from the 11th District, Chair of the committee. I'm joined by Vice Chair of the committee, Councilman Leon Pinkett from the 7th District, Councilwoman Danny McCray, 2nd District, member of the committee, Councilman Phil, 4th District, member of the committee, Councilman Isaac Yitzi Schleifer, 5th District, member of the committee, Councilwoman Sharon Green Middleton, Vice President of the Council from the 6th District, member of the committee, and Councilwoman Shannon Sneed, 13th District, member of the committee. In addition, we have Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark from the 14th District, Councilman Chris Burnett from the 8th District, Council President Brandon Scott, Councilman Ryan Dorsey from the 3rd District. We have Matt Stegman and Nina Femlis on behalf of Mayor Jack Young. We have Kaylin Young and Dominic McAlilly and Rebecca Simmons on behalf of Council President Brandon Scott. Also on the call are Director of BBMR, Bob Seneme, Pedro Aponte from BBMR, Daniel Ramos from BBMR/Mayor's Office, and Mara James from BBMR, Mira Green from BBMR, and Marguerite Curran, who's the most important one out of all of us, who's staff to the committee, and I believe, and Elena DePietro from the Law Department. Okay, so first bill is going to be 20-0528, annual property tax, fiscal year 2021. Is there a motion to move that bill favorably?
So moved.
Okay. Motion by Henry. Is there a second?
Second.
Who's that? Green Middleton?
Yes.
Okay, there are no proposed amendments. Costello is a yes. Pinkett?
Yes.
Pinkett is a yes. Henry?
Yes.
Henry is a yes. McCray?
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton?
Yes.
Middleton is a yes. Schleifer?
Yes.
Schleifer is a yes. Sneed?
Yes.
Sneed is a yes. This bill passes 7 yes, 0 no's, 0 absent, 0 abstain. This bill moves to second reader on Monday, June 15th at 5 p.m. Next bill, Council Resolution 20-0533, operating budget for the Baltimore City Board of School Commissioners for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021. Is there a motion to move this bill?
So moved.
Motion by Pinkett. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Green Middleton. There are no proposed amendments. Costello is a yes. Pinkett?
Yes.
Pinkett is a yes. Henry?
Yes.
Henry is a yes. McCray?
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton?
Yes.
Middleton is a yes. Schleifer?
Yes.
Schleifer is a yes. Sneed?
Yes.
Sneed is a yes. This bill has 7 yeses, 0 nays, 0 absent, 0 abstentions. This bill moves to second reader on Monday, June 15th at 5 p.m. Now we're moving to Council Bill 20-0527, ordinance of estimates for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021. Colleagues, you should all have a PDF, which was sent by Kaylin Young today at 10:20 a.m. Do all committee members have a copy of this? Oh, you don't have it. Pardon me. I'm sending that right now. Give me 1 second.
Mr. Chair, every committee member should have an email from me that they should have received within the last 20 minutes. It should be titled Budget Amendments Forward First Set.
Oh, at 10:14 a.m. Okay.
Yeah.
Caitlin, you sent me something at
That
10:20 a.m.
that's a more complete set that just came through. I just haven't had the chance to send that email out. So if you want to do it, Mr. Chair, you can, or I can do it right now.
I will send that out right now. Okay, so bear with me 1 second, colleagues. Go ahead, Caitlin.
I know there are some members that are not on the committee as well, so just pinging that for you as well, Mr.
Yeah.
Chair.
I'm sending that to everyone on the council.
Caitlin and Mr. Chairman, this is Matt Stegman from the mayor's.
Mr. Stegman, real soon.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Wait, what's going on?
Just sending a copy to the mayor.
Oh yeah, I'm including Matt and Nina as well. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep, everyone's on the same email. Yep, I'll send it to you too, Marguerite. I'm sorry I didn't. Okay. So colleagues, you all should have these amendments. We are going to start with Amendment 1 on page 14 in line 27, strike 93,109,603 and substitute 82,379,603. This is a reduction of $10,730,000 to be taken from activity number 95 from the police department in service 621, which is the administrative bureau. If you're looking to follow along in your budget book, bear with me, I'm about to sneeze. This is on page 262 of volume 2 of the agency detail. This is essentially cutting $10,730,000 from what's known as an unallocated appropriation. This is money that's appropriated to any agency, in this case it's the police department, that does not have a specific use specified through the budget process. At this time, I'm going to move Amendment 1. Is there a second to that motion?
Mr. Chair, can I clarify something? This is Bob Senemy from BBMR.
Sure, Bob.
I think this amendment is incorrect. The amendment is written as though you're reducing the general fund line of unallocated, but there's no general fund money in unallocated. So I think the mistake in the drafting was there are in service 625, there's a general fund appropriation, a federal, a state, and a special.
Hang on, Bob. You said service 625. Did you mean service?
I'm sorry, 621. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
In 621, there's a general fund appropriation of 93.1 million, and it looks like that's what you're attempting to cut, but there's no unallocated in activity 95 in the general fund. It's in the state fund. So the drafting, it should be taking from the state line item, which is 10,725,750, and it should be eliminating that entire line. If your intent is to take the money out of unallocated, it's not general fund, it's state funds.
Okay, we're gonna have to come back to this amendment because I'm not ready to move that in light of what you just said.
And it looks like the same is true on the other ones that I'm reading too, for 2 and 3, but why don't you go through them and I can help point out this. I think
Bob,
the same.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you the amendments right now, Bob, so that you have them. Why don't you take a look at that? I'm going to go into recess for about 3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, we're back in session. Can you hear me? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so back to Amendment 1. On page 14 in line 27, strike $93,109,603 and substitute $82,379,603. This is a reduction of $10,730,000 to be taken from activity number 95, which is unallocated appropriation. It is important to note that the fund that is coming from should be state. DLR is going to redraft this amendment up, so we are going to take a voice vote based on the intent that I just described. So I have moved amendment number 1. Is there a second to that amendment?
Chairman, can you clarify that? When you say it's based on what Mr. Senemy said, that it's coming from the state allocation, does that mean that the state is not giving us this money? I missed what you guys were saying.
No, it means that this is a item that has been set aside in anticipation of state money. So we are eliminating that. And then if state money does come in later in the fiscal year, that will go through the standard supplementary appropriation process council uses.
So this $10,730,000 is city money, correct?
Bob, do you want to answer the councilman's question?
Sure. So this money was money. It's not city money. It would be state money in anticipation of getting money that would come from the federal government through the state government to the city if we received it as part of the CARES Act. But it is not money that we currently have. It was just a appropriation holding spot in case we get that award. So if it gets reduced here, that would mean that to spend any money we get from the CARES Act on police, we'd have to come back to council for approval for that.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Chairman Costello, can I ask a quick question of
Sure.
Director Senemy? So I just want to be clear, if there's a cut here, what is the savings? If it's just a placeholder and not real money?
So there's no savings to the general fund from this. This is a state fund source.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Motion by Costello, second by Pinkett. This is amendment 1. Costello is a yes. Pinkett,
Yes.
Pinkett is a yes. Henry,
Yes.
Henry is a yes. McCray,
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton,
Yes.
Middleton is a yes. Schleifer,
Yes.
Schleifer is a yes. Sneed,
Yes.
Sneed is a yes. This amendment passes 7-0. Bear with me.
Mr. Chair,
I'm doing.
I have
my
a
own
question.
sheets.
I missed, oh,
All right,
sorry.
hold on.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. President.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, colleagues. Colleagues, again, remember, I know that we've been talking about these for a few days, but these cuts are what I'm going to say are responsible cuts to the police department budget that show that this council and the folks moving forward here in city government are serious about changing the way we reallocate our funds, but also serious about remaining committed to our consent decree, our federally mandated consent decree, and also not ignoring that we are still amidst a city with a deep violence problem that we have to handle in a complete way. We know that we have to handle that in a public health point of view and investing in neighborhoods, but we also have to understand that from a policing mindset as well. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilwoman Clark, you have a question?
Yes, quick one. I just got back online. What was that vote on? Amendment 1 or?
That was Amendment 1. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Kaylin, I'm not going to move Amendment 2 at this time because I think there might be a math issue. But Amendment 2 is for Service 622, which is patrol. And in the budget book, there's an unallocated appropriation of $500,000. This says to reduce that by $676,820, which I don't think it's not mathematically correct. So I'm not sure what's going on there. So if you and
I'll get that cleared up.
Yep, so we'll move on to Amendment 3. Amendment 3 is Police Department Service 626, Data-Driven Strategies. You can find that in the Agency Detail, Volume 2, on page 272. There is again, an unallocated appropriation of $500,000. This is the same issue as Amendment 1, in that this amendment is going to be rewritten to reflect that this is coming from the state appropriation, and that obviously there's an expectation that we're going to get $500,000 granted from the state at some point in the fiscal year. That money is not guaranteed. So this would, on page 15 in line 2, strike $8,901,421 and replace that with $8,401,421. At this time, I'm going to move Amendment 3. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Pinkett. This is Amendment 3. Costello is a yes. Pinkett?
Yes.
Pinkett is yes. Henry?
Yes.
Henry is a yes. McCray?
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton?
Yes.
Middleton is a yes. Schleifer?
Yes.
Schleifer is a yes. Sneed?
Yes.
Sneed is a yes. This amendment passes 7-0. That was Amendment 3.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
That's why I left my cup.
So the adjustment in Amendment 2 is this. In the comment below, which articulates that it's coming from activity number 95, it's actually coming from both activity 95 and activity number 26. So there's a $176,000, roughly $176,000 from activity 26, which would make up that difference.
So these amendments need to be this amendment needs to be bifurcated. As I mentioned before, we're going to entertain each amendment individually. So we can do a voice vote on that. We'll make this Amendment 2A and Amendment 2B. All right, so we'll move back to Amendment 2.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
If I understood what Caitlin said, technically the amendment doesn't need to be split because you're still just changing that one line of page 14, line 32. You just need to add to the explanation in the asterisks that the reduction of 676,820 comes from 500,000 from activity number 95 and 176,820 from activity number 26. Is that it?
No, this is Bob Senemy. I don't think that's correct. The way that the ordinance was written is by service and fund. It's by service and fund. So in patrol, you're cutting 500,000 of unallocated from the state fund, and then you're cutting the other 300 and change from the general fund. So you have to have two different amendments.
It would have to be two different amendments.
Yeah, the activity names,
Gotcha.
I mean, they're good for clarification, but there's no authority to kind of dictate which activity, in my understanding. So you're just cutting the service level. So
Gotcha. I'm sorry, I misunderstood Kaylin's explanation.
No, that's all right. And again, I want to make sure all these amendments are bifurcated and committee members have an opportunity to vote on each individual action that's being proposed. So
Chairman Costello, may I ask one more question of Director Sinema? And I know I asked it again, but I just want to be clear. So even with these particular cuts, whether they coming from the unallocated appropriation or either 95 or 26, Director Sinema, can those cuts be reallocated to other activities?
They can't in this process because
Well, no, not in this process, but I'm sorry. Could the mayor have the discretion to reallocate those funds to other activities?
He does have that discretion, but I don't know if that's what he wants to do.
That's fine. I just wanted to know
Right.
if he has the if he has the discretion.
Move money
Okay.
between. Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair. He might be gone.
I'm sorry, he'll be right with you. Give him a minute. He'll be right with you. Thank you.
Colleagues, my apologies. Okay, so,
Mr. Chair.
Mr. President, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to go through that again. And I know that the second portion of this cut is related to the strategic centers, but I just want to remind that all these unallocated cuts, they are about transparency and operating the way that we should have been operating before. We should not be giving agencies the ability, our public safety agencies in particular, what we're talking about today, the ability to surpass or go around the actual council process. And this is what these unallocated cuts are about, making sure that when they get a grant for $5 or $6 or $7, $8 million, that they're actually having a discussion with the legislative body instead of just having this money sitting there that they've had sitting there, just spending that money immediately without anyone knowing how they're going to go through that process. This is about transparency and accountability.
Thank you, Mr. President. So Amendment 2, we're going to split this into two pieces. The first one, we're in Service 622, which is patrol. In the agency detail, Volume 2, I'm on page 266. We are cutting $500,000 from the unallocated appropriation, which is activity number 95. And the funding source of that is $5,000, which is state. That's in the total of $500,000. I'm going to move that amendment. Is there a second to that amendment?
Second.
Wait, can you just clarify which one is that again?
Sure thing. So we are on page 266 in volume 2 of the agency detail. This is the patrol service. And this is the unallocated appropriation, which is activity number 95.
Gotcha. Okay.
Total
I
amount
see it.
of $500,000.
Thanks.
So motion by Costello, second by Pinkett. Costello is a yes. Pinkett?
Yes.
Pinkett is a yes. Henry? We'll come back to Henry. He looks like he's having technical issues.
Yes.
Henry is a yes. McCray?
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton?
Yes.
Middleton is a yes. Schleifer?
Yes.
Schleifer's a yes. Sneed?
Yes.
Sneed is a yes. Okay, that was Amendment 2A. Now we're going to do Amendment 2B. We're on the same page, page 266, in Volume 2, the budget book. This is Service 622, again, which is patrol. This is Activity 26, which is the Community Intelligence Centers. Now, the current amount being proposed is $353,640. This amendment would cut that by $176,820. Before we proceed, Kalen, can you confirm that that is the correct number? $176,820.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. And Bob, to confirm, the source of this funding is going to be Fund 1001, General Fund. Is that
That's
correct?
right. That's right.
Okay. Motion by Costello. Okay.
Second.
Second by Pinkett. Costello is a yes. Pinkett.
Yes.
Pinkett is a yes. Henry.
Yes.
Henry is a yes. McCray.
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton.
Yes.
Middleton is a yes. Schleifer.
Yes.
Schleifer is a yes. Sneed.
Yes.
Sneed is a yes. This motion passes 7-0. Okay. Okay, Amendment 4, we are going to split that into 2 amendments. We're in special operations now. So we are on page 287 of volume 2. We're in the police department. We are in service 816, which is special operations. We're on amendment, what I'm calling 4A, which is the mounted unit. Activity 5.
Mr. Chair, can I chime in here?
Give me 1 second, Mr. President. This is in the total amount of $553,735. And Bob, the funding source for this is Fund 1001, which is general. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. Mr. President, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for these cuts in particular, just a reminder for our colleagues that we've talked for years and years about the mounted unit, and even deep conversations with BBMR about the mounted unit in particular. We know that all of the officers have been relocated from this service to patrol. So, and when we've had the things going on in the city that we've had in recent days, we have to also understand that even the use of this for crowd control is something that moving forward we should strongly go to a different route. So that's why we're proposing now, especially with the officers already going, to just eliminate this unit.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is there any discussion on this? Any other council members? We will entertain comments from non-committee members. Councilman Bullock, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Council President. Again, I understand, the sentiment in terms of moving away from the mounted unit. At the same time, we recognize that it's been very instrumental in terms of some of the recent uplift in Southwest Baltimore as it relates to the B&O Railroad, and the mounted unit being there also as a part of community interaction. So again, I understand, where Mr. Chair, and I understand where Mr. President is going with this, but I did want to make note, given that the stables that are currently being constructed and being renovated are in Southwest Baltimore in the Poppleton community. And I do look at this as a boon for the neighborhood, and it's something that both prior administrations as well as the current commissioner have been invested in. Just want to make that note. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Councilman. Colleagues, any other discussion? Is there a motion to move this amendment?
So moved.
Motion by Henry. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Middleton. Costello is a no. Pinkett.
Yes.
Pinkett is a yes. Henry.
Yes.
Henry is a yes. McCray.
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton.
Yes.
Middleton is a yes. Schleifer?
No.
Schleifer is a no. Sneed?
Yes.
Sneed is a yes. This amendment passes with 5 yeas and 2 nays. Okay, that was Amendment 4A. That was essentially the mounted unit. Okay, what you have in your document, Amendment 4, we're doing Amendment 4B now. That is Activity 6. That is in the amount of $1,877,213. That is Activity 6, Marine Unit. And Bob, I believe that is from Fund 1001, General. Is that correct?
Yes, that's all general funds.
Okay, colleagues, any discussion? Start with the president.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think that this is one that I've discussed, and I know our colleagues have heard me discuss this in recent days and in recent years too with our department. Simply put, Mr. Chair, I think that we can, again, do the tough work working with BBMR, working with both fire and police to combine those units into one vessel, i.e. the fireboat that we have now, and be able for us to move away from having both of the units, both of the public safety agencies have a separate one, and just trying to combine the efforts together so that we're meeting all the necessary needs, but that we're also making sure that we're working in an innovative way moving forward. And in addition, this unit and the place that is located in the city also could be a place where the city could recoup funds too, by not having them operate a marine unit out of Canton and being in the same place as fire. That is all. Thank you.
Colleagues, any other comments or discussion?
Just a comment to piggyback on what the council president has said, and also in our waters, keep in mind that we are in very close proximity of the Coast Guard, and they also have, an apprenticeship and getting ready to start an apprenticeship school. And again, it's all about creative partnerships through different segments of government as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. Colleagues, any other discussion? Okay, we'll take a 2-minute recess. Be right back. Colleagues, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is there a motion to move this amendment?
So moved.
Motion by Henry. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by McCray.
Just to clarify, we're talking about the Marine unit, correct?
Correct.
And that is state funds, city funds. What I missed that.
That's general fund.
Okay.
Fund 1001. Bob, can you please confirm that?
Yes, it's general funds.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Costello is a no. Pinkett?
No.
Pinkett is a no. Henry?
Yes.
Henry is a yes. McCray?
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton?
Yes.
Middleton is a yes. Schleifer?
Yes.
Schleifer is a yes. Sneed?
Yes.
Sneed is a yes. This amendment passes 5-2. Okay, that's Amendment 4B. Amendment 5, which is in Service 853. If you open up your budget book to page 290, Volume 2, we're still in the police department. This is Service 853, Patrol Support Services. This is an unallocated appropriation in the amount of $1 million. This is activity number 95. Bob, if you could confirm, this is from Fund 5000 State. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And the way it's written, it looks like it's striking the general fund line and substituting
Yep.
another So
Yep, same issue as
Same
before.
issue,
We gotta
right.
get DLR to fix this.
to fix it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So this is in the amount of $1 million. I move the amendment. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Middleton. Costello is a yes. Pinkett?
Yes.
Pinkett is a yes. Henry?
Yes.
Henry is a yes. McCray?
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton?
Yes.
Middleton is a yes. Schleifer?
Yes.
Schleifer is a yes. Sneed?
Yes.
Sneed is a yes. This amendment passes 7-0. Service 853. Activity 5. Okay. Amendment 6. This is the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice. That is going to be on page 618. Service 618, Neighborhood Safety and Engagement. Page 128. So we're on page 128. We're in an unallocated appropriation of, which is activity 95, for $2.7 million total. Bob, I believe this is from the state portion, correct? Bob?
What do you mean? Hi, sorry. There's actually 3 sources. It's split among 3 different fund sources. It's federal, special, and state. So federal is $500,000, special is $1 million, and state is 1.2 million. So as with the other one, it's not general fund, but it's split between those 3 sources.
What is the special fund source on this one, Bob?
So the special fund is intended to be for private grants. So we usually use we leave some unallocated because MOCJ especially applies for a lot of private grants from like foundations, for example. So the state portion here, which is the same intent of the other dollars, what was really for CARES money that flows through the state government. But the 1 million of special funds is usually intended in this case to quickly act on private grants if we get them.
And Bob, run through again the total amount for, let's start with federal.
Federal's 500,000, special is $1 million, and state is 1.2 million.
Okay, we're going to go into recess for a minute. Okay, colleagues, the president is withdrawing that previous amendment. We are going to move on to what is numbered as Amendment 7 in the document, the PDF. That is going to be the new Amendment 6.
Which amendment was withdrawn?
Amendment 6, the cut to the Office of the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice. So we're moving on to Amendment number 7, which is the State's Attorney's Office, Service 115. That's going to be in Volume 2, the agency detail. Service 115 is prosecution of criminals. Hang on.
Mr. Chair, can I address this?
Yes, or give me 1 second, Mr. President. So this is going to be on page 392. And this is going to be Activity 18, SAO, Baltimore Community Intelligence Centers. There is currently proposed $888,742. The amendment proposes reducing that amount by $444,371. And Bob, if you could confirm the source for this one?
This is general funds.
General fund. Mr. President, floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair and colleagues. Again, remember earlier on, we cut funding in half for BPD for this particular service. Again, as these are being studied and analyzed, I think that when we are, as I said earlier, in a point where we're in a global health pandemic and communicable diseases and the health department is being cut, we have to be very intentional about not allowing agencies to grow programs that we have not had the ability to analyze completely yet. And this is not a cut against the state's attorney or her office, but remember, this is a program that is being run out of BPD. And if we're cutting their portion in half, we should make sure that the other portion matches that as well.
Is there a motion to any colleagues, any other questions about this? Okay. Is there a motion to move this amendment? This is amendment number 6, State's Attorney's Office, Service 115, Activity 018, cutting $444,371.
So moved.
Motion by Henry. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by McCray. Costello is a yes. Pinkett.
Yes.
Pinkett's a yes. Henry.
Yes.
Henry's a yes. McCray.
Yes.
McCray's a yes. Middleton.
Yes.
Middleton's a yes. Schleifer.
Yes.
Schleifer's a yes. Sneed.
Yes.
Sneed's a yes. Okay, I'm going to go into recess for a minute. Kaylin, just to confirm, we have one amendment left, correct? Which is the overtime piece?
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay, colleagues. We're going to go into recess for another minute. Okay, we're back in session. Committee members, can you, okay. Do we have Sneed and Middleton? We have Sneed. Councilwoman Sneed, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
All right, so we have Henry, Pinkett, Sneed, Schleifer, Middleton. McCray, Councilwoman McCray.
I'm here.
Okay. All right, so this last amendment, what we're going to call Amendment 7. It's the overtime amendment. This is made up of 7 cuts. I'm going to go through each of the cuts.
Mr. Chair, before you do that, can I have the
Yes,
floor?
Mr. President. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You're fine. Thank you. Colleagues, this is something, a line I want us to be very intentional about. These proposed cuts to overtime are not to the Patrol Bureau, are not to the bureaus that are going to be out dealing directly each and every day with the crime fight. So I know that the chairman's going to read off the actual line, but I just want to let that be known. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we proceed, Kaylin, these are going to come from, for each service area, Object 1, and the fund is going to be 1001 general. Do we know which activity these are coming from?
Mr. Chair, we would need Mr. Sinema to give us a little more clarity on that because of the way that overtime has been budgeted.
Bob?
So you're correct. These are all general funds. We can, I mean, if you'd like, we can add activities after the vote. I mean, generally overtime is budgeted where it's incurred. So we can provide you guys a breakdown if you want to add activity level detail to the amendments. But generally, we manage this on a service by service basis, not at activity level, to give the commanders in each of those areas a little bit of flexibility to respond to the need.
Okay. All right, I will go through the services and the amounts. The total amount is $7,230,950. The first service is 621, which is administrative bureau, pardon me. That amount is $2,407,522. The second service is service 626. That is data-driven strategies. The amount is $1,323,969. Service 628 is next. The Public Integrity Bureau, $207,695. The next service is Service 635, which is the recruitment section, which is $2,059,193. The next service is Service 642, Crime Laboratory and Evidence Control. That amount is $491,569. The next service is Service 807. That is the Compliance Bureau. That amount is $459,965. And then the final service is 853, Patrol Support Services. That total is $281,037, again for a grand total of $7,230,950. Before we proceed with discussion on this amendment, the first question I'm going to ask is there any member of the committee who wishes for this to be bifurcated into 7 separate amendments? That's the first question. Councilman Schleifer,
Yeah,
you want it bifurcated?
if possible.
We can do that. Yes, sir. So we will start with Amendment 7A.
Chairman Costello, can I ask a
Yes.
quick question of Director Sinema?
Yes, yes, of course.
Bob, if there was a situation where, regardless of what the overtime amount is, that the police department needed to exceed what was allocated for overtime, what would that process look like?
So if the department needed additional overtime beyond what is budgeted, it's the same process that has happened a few times in the last couple of years, is which we'd have to go to the council and ask for supplemental appropriation for that bill. And just want to be clear that given the fiscal situation this particular year, we should not expect there to be funds available for supplemental appropriation like we have in the past, just because the economic outlook is so poor.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
Sure thing.
You're muted. Councilman Costello, you're muted.
Before we move any further, I'm still muted?
No, you're good.
Thank you. Before we move any further, I'm going to email everyone on the council, well as the folks from BPD, Mayor's Office of Government Relations, the President's Office, et cetera. So bear with me while I punch about 20 email addresses in here real quick. It's council members, President, Margaret. Okay, colleagues, I just sent an email to everyone, as well as the folks from BPD. I forgot to send it to BBMR. Bob, that's coming your way in 1 second. Okay, everyone should have the numbers now. We are going to bifurcate the amendments. These will be 7A through 7G. I have a general comment I'd like to make, which applies to all of these. Any council member who has a general comment is invited. I'm going to invite any council member who has a general comment about this series of votes of 7A through 7G to make that comment now. You are also invited to make individual comments when we get to each of the individual bifurcated amendments. Councilor Schleifer.
Yeah, just to make a quick request, I know you just went through each of the items, but if you could, as we vote on each one, say specifically what it's for, like you just did before, that'd be helpful for clarity, because I see what you emailed out just has the numbers, and we're scrolling back and forth in the books to find what each number is, so I'd appreciate that.
Councilman, absolutely happy to do that, as I have to by hand write what they are on the amendment count sheet, so just please bear with me. Any other general comments? Okay, I'll make my comment. I can't support these amendments. For me, this is a matter of being fiscally prudent. Right now, we've budgeted, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, $33.8 million for the department in terms of overtime. Is that correct?
Yes, 33 million.
33 million. We're proposing to cut that by 7 and change. Bob, what are we spending this year on overtime?
So about 40 million is what we're projected to spend. And, you know, that has changed just in the past, 2 weeks, really, with, a lot of the extra officers we've needed to deal with, some of the protest out there. So police, just want to say that police had been on track to meet the 5 million reduction that we had budgeted in fiscal 2020, up until about 2 weeks ago, because there was extra officers needed. And then, we had budgeted for an additional 5 million of savings. So this is
What's that total? What's that total number, Bob, that we had budgeted for in fiscal 20?
So roughly 38 million. So we had budgeted an additional $5.6 million of savings this year in overtime to get down to the 33. So, and I feel like we have a good plan to get to the 33, but additional cuts beyond that, I think it's fair to say, it's just going to reduce the amount of officers you'll see in certain functions.
Thank you. I don't necessarily agree 100% with that statement. What I will say is that there's no question that we are going to spend at least $33 million. And for me, my concern is with what's coming around the corner in fiscal year 22. We know that our year one commitment for Kerwin is going to be due. That's going to be in the neighborhood of $45 million. We know that we are going to have reduced revenue projections associated with COVID. I'm guessing that those are going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 1/3 of what they are for this upcoming fiscal year, which is 103 million. And that's a very conservative estimate, from most folks that I've talked with, they think it's much higher, but I'll say that's 35 million. That means coming into fiscal year 22, we are going to be in the hole $80 million. In addition, we are going to be in the hole for whatever we spend on overtime that exceeds what we have budgeted. So if we are cutting $7.2 million, that's an additional $7.2 million that whoever is doing the budget next go round, whether that's the Board of Estimates or the mayor and his administration, they're going to have to deal with. And knowing that that money is going to be spent, I simply cannot support this. We are going to go with the First Amendment, Amendment 7A, Service 621, Administrative Bureau, $2,407,522. Is there a motion to make this cut?
So moved.
Motion by Henry. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Middleton. Costello is a no. Pinkett.
Yes.
Pinkett is a yes. Henry.
Yes.
Henry's a yes. McCray.
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton.
Yes.
Middleton is a yes. Schleifer.
Yes.
Schleifer's a yes. Sneed.
Yes.
Sneed's a yes. Amendment 7B. Is Service 626. In the amount of $1,323,969. Service 626 is data-driven strategies. Is there a motion to move this amendment?
So move.
Can we get some clarity from Mr. Senemy, specifically what that line is?
Bob?
So Service 626 is data-driven strategies. The functions that are in this, the activities that are in this service, it's the operational intelligence section, the analytical intelligence section, and the watch center. And so, like I said, we generally don't manage the overtime down to the activity level. We give the commander some flexibility, the department some flexibility to meet those targets. But those are the three main sections that are.
Councilman Schleifer, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Is there a motion to move this amendment?
So moved. It's neat.
Motion by Sneed. Is there a second?
Second. McCray.
Thank you. Second by McCray. Costello is a no. Pinkett.
Yes. Yes.
It's a yes. Henry.
Yes.
Henry's a yes. McCray.
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton.
Yeah. Yes.
Middleton's a yes. Schleifer.
Yes.
Schleifer's a yes. Sneed.
Yes.
Sneed's a yes. That amendment passes 7-0. Or 6, I'm sorry. I've got really bad math today. 6-1. Thank you, Marguerite. Okay. Amendment 7C, Service 628, which is the Public Integrity Bureau, in the amount of $207,695. Colleagues, any questions?
Yeah, can we get some clarity on that also from Bob?
Bob?
So this service, the key sections, the key activities under this service, internal investigations, the special investigations, and the ethics division.
Thank you.
I have further concerns beyond the ones that I listed earlier with this one, especially considering how deeply in need of reform our department is, despite lot of positive progress that we've made over the past year since Commissioner Harrison has gotten here. As we've advanced throughout implementation of the consent decree, I simply cannot vote in support of something that limits our ability to continue to monitor reform. Is there a motion? Any other comments are welcome. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to move this amendment.
If there's no other conversation, I'll move.
Motion by Sneed. Is there a second?
Second, McCray.
Second by McCray. Costello is a no. Pinkett.
Mr. Chair, may I explain my vote?
Absolutely.
This service to me represents exactly what we're calling for the police department to do. And to make any adjustment to this particular service, no matter how small, to me is a step in the wrong direction. So I vote no.
Thank you. Pinkett is a no. Henry.
Yes.
Henry is a yes. McCray.
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton.
Yes.
Middleton is a yes. Schleifer.
No.
Schleifer is a no. Sneed.
Yes.
Sneed is yes. This amendment passes 4-3. Amendment 7D. This is coming from Service 635, which is the recruitment section in the amount of $2,059,193. I also have concerns with, in addition to the ones that I mentioned at the beginning, with respect to eliminating anything from recruitment, especially considering how we need to improve on the number of city residents that we are recruiting to be police officers with BPD, as well as the needs that are identified in the staffing plan, which has been endorsed by Judge Berdard, who's overseeing the consent decree. Any comments from our colleagues? All right. Is there a motion to move the amendment?
So moved.
Motion by Sneed. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Henry. Costello is a no. Pinkett.
Yes.
Pinkett is a yes. Henry.
Yes.
Henry's a yes. McCray.
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton.
Yes.
Middleton is a yes. Schleifer.
Yes.
Schleifer's a yes. Sneed.
Yes.
Sneed is a yes. This amendment passes 6-1. Amendment 7E. PD overtime. This is going to be service 807. Oh. Yep, that's right. Thank you. Sorry, this is going to be service 642. This is going to be in the amount of $491,569,000. This is service 642. Crime laboratory and evidence control. Again, in the amount of $491,569. Colleagues, the floor is open for discussion.
I got
Councilman Schleifer, you have the floor.
Yeah, so first I want to just say that as far as the crime lab goes, I follow very closely how money is spent through the budget and across all agencies. And one of the things that those of you who've known me know that I'm always pushing for and looking for what is going to provide the best bang for our buck, the best return on investment, and where things are trim and lean across the city's budget. And one of the things that it's important to note that when it comes to the crime lab, and I guess Bob can probably attest to this also, that the crime lab is one of the most efficient and effective divisions of city government, and they've received awards as such. And so when we talk about taking money away from the crime lab, what we're really looking at is what we're saying is that we're going to be reducing what the outcome of investigations will be, and whether or not we're taking we're taking all the evidence in that needs to be in. So I go to just about every shooting scene in my district, and it's tedious work. The crime lab shows up and they look around very carefully, and they collect as much evidence as they can find. And so this one item really concerns me, considering that I've been following very closely, how these investigations have worked, and this will directly cut back from one of the most efficient parts of city government. And so, I plan to be voting no on this one, but I did want to share that, and I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has in the crime lab, because I've been following it very closely, and I can tell you that this is one place where we need to make sure that they have the resources to be able to go to every shooting scene, every serious incident, and get as much evidence as possible. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Colleagues, any other discussion on this one? Councilwoman Clark?
I know I'm not a member of the committee. I just would like to say that one of the things about the crime lab is that he owes them, a lot of the members there, the kind of raises that got overlooked when general pay increases came through. A lot of people have been working on that for a long time, trying to get those salaries brought into line with one another. I'm not making a suggestion about the budget. I'm just saying you're talking about it and what a good operation it is. There are a lot of really good people that got overlooked almost by accident a couple of years ago when they upgraded a bunch of the people in there. And I think they owe the city and the people getting everybody back into proper payment with one another. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Dorsey?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to relay a story from my district that relates to the crime lab and their operations. About 6 months ago, I was contacted by a constituent who had been held up at gunpoint as he was returning home via a rideshare coming from Penn Station. And it was about 2 or 3 in the morning. And as he was walking up his front steps, he was approached by 2 men with guns and was walked into his house and into his bedroom where his wife was sleeping. And their baby was asleep in the next room. And the jewelry was stolen from the wife, and but they were disappointed that there was no cash available. And so they walked him out to his car and forced him again at gunpoint to drive to the nearest ATM, and at gunpoint forced him to remove money from the ATM and give it to them. And at the end of all of this, the crime lab came to take fingerprint samples and wanted to take his vehicle for further testing, except they then left all of the fingerprints at the house and lost their car key while the car was in evidence control, and it became up to the homeowners to deliver their spare car key to evidence control so that police could get back into the car. And when they contacted the crime lab to say, you left your fingerprints behind, the responding person said, well, can you call 311 and see if you can get somebody to take care of it that way? So I have absolutely no problem with this cut. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. Any other comments?
I got one more.
I'm going to go to Councilman Henry first and then Schleifer.
I'm sorry, could you just repeat the total amount for the cut again?
Yes, I can. Give me 1 second. It's $491,569.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Schleifer.
Yeah. Also, Mr. Senemy, can you tell us how many employees there are in the crime lab, and how many of them are civilian employees?
Hi. So in Service 642, there are 182 general fund positions and 6 federal positions. I can look up quickly. You have to give me a couple minutes. I believe we've moved to mostly civilian positions in this area, but let me look that up. It'll take me just a couple minutes to grab it.
Councilman Schleifer, do you want to wait until Bob gets back before we vote?
No, we can vote. I am curious to know, but one of the things that I've been hearing since I've gotten onto this council is the need to civilianize, and I agree. There's a lot of positions that can be civilianized, which not only save money but also helps bring in people from Baltimore and others, who couldn't necessarily participate and be a member of the department, to allow them to do that. And so I think the number is going to be very high. I don't know the number, and so we don't have to wait on that to vote. But I do think it's important to note that the crime lab has done a tremendous job at civilianizing. So thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. President.
Thank you. I think just from my colleagues, I appreciate all the discussion. I think it's great. And of course, no one has talked more about civilianization for me, but I think that we would also be very remiss to not, I don't think Mr. Senator may be able to get that to you immediately. Think about what the civilians are in, because if they're in MAPS, which many of them probably are in MAPS, that means that they would not qualify for overtime. This would be a overtime. My gut tells me that the overtime money in this section is mainly for sworn as well.
Thank you, Mr. President. Any other comments, colleagues? Councilman Henry.
Maybe I'm having maybe I just wasn't paying attention to the right thing, but how many of the people in the crime lab are sworn officers? I thought most of the crime lab was technicians. And frankly, not to argue with the president, but I'm not sure that technicians would be covered by MAPS. They might be covered by CUB, which means they would qualify for overtime.
Mr. Chair, if I could.
Mr. President, real quick, I just want to answer the specific question on the numbers. The budget book has 172 civilian and 16 sworn. Mr. President.
Yeah, I was going to say, and just to say to Councilman Henry, I agree with you. That's why I said that we would have to get further detail on where they are. There probably are some in MAPS, a lot in other places. But remember, this is crime lab and evidence control. So there's a mixture of both.
I'm just asking because it seems like 471,000 is a lot of overtime for only 16 officers. It seems like that's probably dealing with some of the civilians as well.
Councilman Dorsey.
Mr. Chair, I believe that it's relevant to note that I have a breakdown of all of the vacancies for, between service numbers, and it's broken down between vacancies in civilian positions versus vacancies in sworn positions. And the crime lab and evidence control have 50 vacant civilian positions in it.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Councilwoman Sneed.
Can you ask Councilman Dorsey to say that one more time? I think I missed something.
Councilman Dorsey, please repeat.
Yes, I made a an information request of the Budget Bureau last week to have all of the vacancies throughout the police department broken down by service number and broken down by sworn versus civilian positions. The Crime Lab and Evidence Control Service has 50 vacant civilian positions budgeted to it.
Councilwoman Sneed, could you hear him?
Yes, thank you.
No problem. Colleagues, any other discussion? Bob, do you have answers to Councilman Schleifer's question?
Yeah, so there's 17 of the positions here are sworn. And the rest of them are civilian.
Budget book says 16, Bob. Do you know what that discrepancy is from?
Where are you seeing that? I'm sorry.
I'm on page 282 of volume 2. And I'm looking at the top of the page.
I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. I miscounted. It's 16 sworn and 172 civilian.
Got it. And
That's over 90% civilian.
Yeah, 89. 91. 91% civilian. And what's someone for BPD's on here? What's our clearance rate for shootings? What is it, like 20%? Someone for BPD? Oh, they're not elevated to panelists. I'm fine without that being answered. No, it's fine. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. I don't hear anyone disagreeing with me on that. Okay. Is there a motion to move this?
So moved.
We've exhausted discussion on this one, right?
And I second.
All right. Motion by Sneed.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Just so just to give you an answer to your question, the clearance rate for homicides for this year is 38.4, and for non-fatals is 21.4. So both clearance rates are year over year up, which is a good.
Okay. Thank you, Councilman. So we had a motion by Sneed and a second by Middleton. Costello's a no. Pinkett?
Yes.
Pinkett is a yes. Henry?
Yes.
Henry's a yes. McCray?
Yes.
Crazy yes. Middleton?
Yes.
Middleton's a yes. Schleifer?
No.
Schleifer's a no. Sneed?
Yes.
Sneed's a yes. This amendment passes 5-2. All right. Amendment 7F, BPD overtime, Service 807, Compliance Bureau, $459,965. I have my same concerns with the Compliance Bureau as I do with the am I not seeing it? Where did it go? The Public Integrity Bureau. This deals with, as I understand, the consent decree. Again, I still have my concerns from before. Opening the floor up for discussion for any other of our colleagues.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Dorsey, Councilman Dorsey.
Thank you. I'm okay with Mr. I had a follow-up last week with the Public Integrity Bureau over a complaint I personally made about a police officer whose conduct toward me was courteous.
Hang on, Councilman. I want to make sure what you're saying is relevant. We're on the Compliance Bureau, not
Compliance Bureau.
Public Integrity Bureau. We've already done public integrity.
My bad. Thanks.
No problem, sir. Colleagues, any other discussion on this one? Is there a motion to move the amendment?
So moved.
Motion by Sneed. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Second by Henry. Costello is a no. Pinkett.
Yes.
Pinkett is a yes. Henry.
Yes.
Henry, yes. McCray.
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton.
Yes.
Middleton's a yes. Schleifer.
Yes.
Excuse me. Schleifer is a yes. Sneed.
Yes.
Sneed is a yes. This amendment passes 6-1. Final amendment. Amendment 7G. This is BPD overtime. Section 853, Patrol Support Services, in the amount of $281,037. Any discussion on this one?
I have a question for the director, for Bob. Can you tell me how much overtime was spent for these services, saying FY 2020 or FY 19?
Are you referring to 853 in particular? So the patrol support services?
Right.
So unfortunately, this is one of the ones, it's a brand new service this year. So we would have to go back and map to try to figure out what was spent. These activities did not exist in those forms last year. If you notice in the budget book, you can see there's no budget or no actual for fiscal 19 and 20 because we moved the stuff here to try to be more clear.
Thank you.
But
Can you
just in general, I mean, folks should know, I mean, think of these as, parts of the department that support patrol. So this is dispatch, this is operations, and this is the officers that are at central booking.
It's also stating that it includes the community and youth outreach. Is that correct?
Right. That's right.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
Colleagues, any other discussion or questions? Is there a motion to move this amendment?
So moved.
Motion by Sneed. Is there a second? Is there a second? This motion fails for lack of a second. I'm going to give one last call. Is there a second on this? Otherwise, this motion fails.
I'll second it.
Costello is a no. Pinkett.
No.
Pinkett is a no. Henry.
Yes.
Can you clarify which one this is again?
This is Service 853, Patrol Support Services, in the amount of $281,037. So Costello is a no. Pinkett is a no. Henry is a yes. McCray.
No.
McCray is a no. Middleton.
No.
Middleton is a no. Schleifer.
No.
Schleifer is a no. Sneed.
Yes.
Sneed is a yes. This amendment fails. 2 yeses and 5 noes. Okay. Those are all the amendments. Kalen, are you still on? We got everything from the president's package?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay. We now have an amended ordinance of estimates. We have cut 10.73 million from service 621, activity 95. I'm not reading through all these amendments. Is there anyone that needs me to read through all these amendments? I trust that everyone has been paying very diligent attention over the past 2+ hours. Any council member who needs me to read through all of the amendments? Seeing that there are none, I'd move Council Ordinance 20-0527, Ordinance of Estimates for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021, favorably with amendments. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second by McCray. Costello is a yes. Pinkett?
Chairman, may I explain my vote?
Yes, sir.
Quite simply, in my opinion, removing resources from the police department doesn't make this budget appropriately respond to the needs of our city. So I'm voting no.
Pinkett is a no. Henry?
Yes.
Henry is a yes. McCray?
Yes.
McCray is a yes. Middleton?
I think all of this is about doing what's right for the people. And again, keeping in our minds that it's about redirection, reform, restructure, and we have to make some hard decisions now. So my vote is a yes.
Middleton is a yes. Schleifer?
Yes.
Schleifer is a yes. Sneed?
Yes.
Sneed is a yes. This bill moves. This bill is moved favorably as amended. It moves to second reader on Monday, June 15th at 5 p.m. We are now in recess.
Mr. Chair, real quick before y'all leave.
Yes, sir.
Members of the committee and members of the council who are on, at 1 p.m. we will have council lunch. You should have those links currently in your inbox. If you have any problems, please feel free to reach out to me. Additionally, as you all know, we have a 5 p.m. regular council meeting and a 6:30 p.m. special council meeting also today. Those meetings have the exact same information to log in. It will be the same WebEx for those two council meetings. We will have the first meeting, and we will adjourn for the Board of Estimates. They will meet. I will keep the WebEx open, so you don't necessarily have to log off if you want to keep your computer open for that second meeting. I'll restate this information at the launch.
Can I have a quick question?
Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Do we have to go to a separate place to go down to the Board of Estimates in between those
Yes.
two meetings?
If you want to watch the Board of Estimates meeting, you would have to log in to that one separately, but the council meetings will be.
Okay, you'll send that to us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Keelan, is the Board of Estimates meeting that's being held virtually, but are members going to be physically present in the same room or no?
I believe the answer is no, but I do not have a direct answer for it.
Okay, can you get me, can you add me as a panelist for that? Because obviously I have to present the budget to the board.
Certainly.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
And
it.
get the rest of us in there.
Certainly.
You want just to watch the chair.
Yes, indeed. And it'll also be on Charm TV for those if we have any troubles logging on.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Any other questions before we recess? All right, we are now in recess. Thank you.